Have you ever noticed how some people can stroll into a busy place, picture a buzzing party with laughter bouncing off the walls, a tense meeting where everyone's on edge, or even a crowded coffee shop humming with chatter, and it's like the whole scene bends toward them. They don't need to shout, strut, or wave their arms around, they just step in, and somehow the room feels their presence, heads turn, conversations pause, energy shifts, all without a single word. Then there's the rest of us, sometimes lingering near the door, hesitating at the edges, wondering if we belong, if we're enough, if anyone even notices we're there. What's the gap between those two? Confidence. It's not some mystical aura or a secret handshake, it's a quiet, steady power you can build brick by brick. Imagine it like a bridge stretching over a roaring, stormy river. On one side, you've got doubt swirling around your ankles, fear tugging at your chest, that nagging voice whispering you'll never measure up. On the other side, there's strength, purpose, a deep, unshakable belief in who you are. Most of us spend way too long on the shaky bank, staring at that bridge, unsure how to take the first step, or even if it'll hold our weight. But Aristotle, that brilliant mind from ancient Greece, cracked the code over 2,000 years ago. Confidence isn't something you trip over in the dark, it's something you forge, step by deliberate step, by shedding the habits that keep you stuck, the ones you might not even see weighing you down. Welcome back to Aristo Soul, where we dive headfirst into Aristotle's timeless wisdom to light up your life, to help you grow into the person you're meant to be. Today, we're unpacking 6 things you need to stop doing right now to build confidence that doesn't crack, doesn't wobble, doesn't break, no matter what life throws at you. These aren't shallow pep talks or trendy hacks. They're rooted deep in Aristotelian philosophy, paired with real hands-on steps you can start today to change how you see yourself, how you carry yourself, how you live. I've got 6 principles lined up, each one a solid plank in that bridge to your truest, boldest self. And here's the kicker, you'll want to stick around to the very end, because the last one, it's the heaviest, the most powerful, the one that could flip your whole perspective upside down. So grab a coffee, pull out a notebook, get comfortable, let's cross that bridge together, one piece at a time. First up, stop seeking approval from others. Confidence kicks off the moment you stop handing your worth over to someone else to stamp good enough on it. Think about it. How often do you twist your words, tweak your actions, even reshape your dreams, just to fit what you think other people expect? It's exhausting, isn't it? Like you're a performer on a stage, constantly glancing at the audience, waiting for a nod or a clap to tell you you're okay. It's like building a house on someone else's land. One harsh gust, one snarky comment, one blank stare, and the whole thing topples. Aristotle saw through that game. He believed real confidence, what he called eudaimonia, a flourishing life, springs from within, from tuning into your own moral compass, your own sense of what's good and true, not begging for someone else's thumbs up. He put it like this: the good man should be a lover of self, for he will both profit himself by doing noble acts and will benefit his fellows. That's from his Nicomachean Ethics, Book 9. He's not preaching selfishness. He's saying when you anchor your confidence in your own values, you're not just lifting yourself up. You're becoming a light for everyone around you, chasing approval. That's just handing your power away, dimming your own flame. I learned this one the hard way back in my early 20s. I'd written this short story, hours of late nights, ink smudges on my fingers, heart poured onto the page, but I wouldn't show it to anyone. Why? I was terrified my friends would laugh, roll their eyes, call it pretentious or lame. I'd sit there imagining their reactions, tying myself in knots over opinions they hadn't even given yet. One day I took a chance and showed it to a mentor instead, someone I barely knew, someone outside my usual circle. She read it slowly, set it down, looked me square in the eye and said, This is yours. Why are you hiding it? It was like a jolt. I'd been waiting for permission to be myself from people who didn't even get me. After that, I started sharing my work, rough edges and all. Some loved it, some didn't, but the crazy thing, the approval I'd been desperate for started trickling in naturally once I stopped clawing for it. That's when I realized confidence isn't about what they think, it's about what you know. Here's how you can start breaking that habit. Pause before you pivot. Next time you're about to shift what you're doing just to please someone, stop and ask, am I doing this for me or for them? Really sit with that question. Let it sink in. Set one boundary this week. Say no to something small that doesn't line up with who you are. Maybe a favor you don't want to do or an invite you'd rather skip. Feel that little rush of freedom when you do. It's your confidence waking up. And celebrate your wins solo. Finish a project, cook a killer meal, whatever it is. Take a quiet moment to savor it before you fish for feedback. Build that inner anchor. Let it grow roots. You don't need their applause to stand tall. Next, stop comparing yourself to others. Comparison is sneaky. It creeps in like a shadow, stealing your joy, your focus, your confidence before you even know it's there. We're drowning in it these days, aren't we? Scrolling through feeds, perfect vacations, flawless selfies, career wins. And suddenly our own lives feel like messy first drafts, like we're behind, like we'll never catch up. Aristotle didn't have a smartphone, but he'd have seen right through this trap. He taught that the good life isn't about outshining the person next to you. It's about becoming the best version of you, period. He wrote, "We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit." That's Nicomachean in Ethics, Book 2. Confidence isn't a leaderboard. It's a habit you stack up day by day by focusing on your own path, your own growth, not someone else's highlight reel. I fell into this hole a few years back, big time. I'd watch other creators online, crisp videos, thousands of likes, polished everything, and I'd sit there thinking I'm nowhere near that league. It got bad one day. I was scrolling, feeling like a total failure, when I stumbled across an old journal of mine tucked in a drawer. It was stuffed with ideas, stories, scripts, dreams I'd abandoned because they didn't look as shiny as what I saw online. I'd been so busy measuring myself against strangers that I'd stopped creating anything at all. That hit me hard. I decided enough was enough. I grabbed my phone, no script, no edits, and recorded a raw video. Just me, a shaky voice, a thought I cared about. I posted it, hands sweating. It wasn't sleek, but it was mine, and people connected, not to perfection, but to the realness. Comparison had been choking my own excellence, and letting it go was like breathing again. Here's how you can kick it. Limit the noise. Cut your social media time by 30 minutes a day. Maybe swap it for a walk or a page in a book, and use that space to focus on something you want to build. Track your progress. Start a simple log, even on your phone, of your daily wins, big ones like finishing a goal, small ones like getting out of bed when you didn't want to. Compare yourself to who you were yesterday, not some stranger today, and reframe their success. Next time you feel that envy sting, tell yourself, that's proof it's possible for me too. Let it push you, not pull you down. You're not here to match their story. You're here to write yours. Confidence doesn't bloom when you're curled up in a comfort zone. It's hammered out in the heat of tough decisions. Dodging the hard stuff might feel like a shield, keeping you safe from risk, from failure. But all it really does is train your mind to shrink, to doubt your own strength. Aristotle saw every choice as a brushstroke painting who you are. He believed decision-making was the heartbeat of a virtuous life. He said, "It is in our power to act or not to act, and this is why there is praise and blame." Nicomachean Ethics, Book 3. He's telling us confidence grows when you take the reins, when you own your yeses and nos, not when you let life happen to you. Avoiding choices, that's just handing your power to the wind. I had to wrestle with this one when I faced a fork in the road stick with a stable job or leap into this channel full time. The job was safe, regular pay, predictable days, but my heart was pulling me here to Aristo Soul, to chasing ideas and impact. I stalled for months, paralyzed, flipping between security and passion like a coin I wouldn't let land. It was eating me alive. Every day I didn't choose, I felt weaker, smaller. Finally, I grabbed a notebook, listed what mattered to me: freedom to create, a chance to connect, room to grow, and saw that dodging the call was worse than any risk I could take. I quit. Those first weeks were chaos. Bills loomed, doubts screamed, but every hard choice since has felt lighter, easier. I'd proven to myself I could face the fire and not burn up. Here's your way in. Face 1, fear. Pick a decision you've been sidestepping. Maybe it's a talk you need to have or a change you've been delaying. Break it into pros and cons. Scribble it out and act within 24 hours. Don't let it fester. Start small, say no to a favor that doesn't fit you, or pick a restaurant instead of whatever you want, and feel that decision muscle flex. Then reflect after you choose. Write down how it felt, what it stirred up. Confidence builds when you see you can handle the weight, when you realize you're tougher than you thought. Hey, we're halfway through, can you believe it? If you're feeling this so far, if Aristotle's wisdom and these steps are sparking something in you, please hit that like button and subscribe. It keeps this channel alive. Keeps me bringing you more lessons to build that unbreakable confidence together. Let's keep rolling. Your past isn't a cage to lock yourself in, it's a teacher, a guide, if you let it be. But when you keep replaying old stumbles, every wrong word, every missed shot, you turn lessons into chains that drag you backward. Aristotle was all about forward motion. He believed reason lets us sift through what's behind us, pull out the gold and leave the rest, not wallow in it forever. He wrote, "The least initial deviation from the truth is multiplied later 1,000-fold." That's from On the Heavens, Book 1. A bit cosmic, sure, but here's the gist. A small misstep balloons into a monster if you let it define you. Confidence comes from learning the lesson and sailing on, not anchoring yourself to the wreck. I used to torture myself over a relationship that crashed and burned. I'd lie awake at night, replaying every argument, every time I snapped, every chance I missed to fix it, convinced it proved I was broken, unlovable. It was a loop I couldn't stop, like a bad movie on repeat. One night I was deep in it again when a friend cut through the haze. What's one thing you learned? I had to think patience, maybe, or how to really listen instead of just waiting to talk. That question flipped everything. It wasn't a failure anymore. It was a hard-earned piece of me. Letting go didn't erase what happened. It freed me to grow from it, to step forward instead of sinking back. Here's how you can break free. Extract the lesson. Next time you're stuck on a mistake, grab a pen, write down one thing it taught you. Could be resilience, could be a boundary. Then let the rest fade. Set a timer, give yourself 10 minutes to feel the regret, the sting, whatever it is, then shut it down. Train your mind to move on. Act forward, take one small step today that shows you're not that past self anymore. Call a friend, start a project, anything to prove you're growing. The past only owns you if you let it. Cut the rope and watch your confidence rise. Ever feel like your mind's a hamster wheel? Spinning so fast you're dizzy but getting nowhere? That's overthinking, chewing on every what if, every possible outcome until you're too tangled up to take a single step. It's paralysis dressed up as caution, a thief that steals your momentum and your trust in yourself. Aristotle had this brilliant idea called the golden mean, finding balance between diving in reckless and freezing in hesitation. Confidence isn't born in endless loops of thought. It's forged when you act, when you move, when you dare to trust yourself. He said, for the things we have to learn before we can do them, we learn by doing them. Nicomachean Ethics, Book 2. He's hitting us with truth here. You don't think your way to strength. You step into it, stumble, adjust, and step again. Overthinking keeps you stuck on the shore while life sails by. Let me share a story about a friend of mine. Let's call her Elena. When Elena first decided to start her own podcast, she was a total overthinker. She'd been dreaming about it for months, buzzing with ideas, but when it came time to record her first episode, she got stuck in her head. She spent weeks scripting it, every word, every pause, tweaking it over and over until the pages were a mess of crossed out lines and coffee stains. Check one, check. But she wouldn't hit record. She'd sit there picturing it all going wrong, listeners tuning out, leaving harsh comments like, who does she think she is? Or her whole vision just fizzling into nothing. It got so bad she'd set up her mic, stare at it for hours, frozen, doubting every idea she'd ever had. One day, Elena told me she'd hit her limit. She was sick of her own spiraling thoughts. She threw out the script, grabbed her phone, and just started recording. No plan, no polish, just her. Tangled hair from pacing, voice a little wobbly, pouring out a story she cared about. She uploaded it that same night, hands shaking, half expecting silence or worse. It wasn't flawless, there were stumbles, a cough she didn't edit out, but it was raw, it was her, and you know what? People loved it. That shaky first episode sparked everything she's built since, hundreds of listeners, a real community. If she'd stayed trapped in overthinking, she'd still be rewriting that script, stuck in not yet. But she acted messy, brave, unfiltered, and that's what set her free. Here's how you can ditch it. Set a deadline, pick something you've been mulling over, give yourself 24 hours to decide, then do it. No more stalling. Trust your gut. Choose one moment this week where you skip the analysis paralysis and just act. Say yes to a date, pitch an idea, see where it lands. Embrace imperfection. Start something knowing it's rough around the edges, a conversation, a sketch, anything, and let it be enough. Confidence grows in the doing, not the dreaming. Get out of your head and into the world. Wow, you've hung in there with me, thank you. We're about to hit the biggest one, the most game-changing stop of all. Before we dive in, could you drop a quick comment below? Tell me what's clicking for you, which step you're taking, or just say, hey, it keeps me fired up to make these videos for you. All right, here's the finale. 6th, stop living someone else's life. This is the deepest cut, the one that shifts everything. Quit running a race you didn't sign up for. We've all been there, haven't we? Chasing dreams our parents laid out, our friends cheer for, or society slaps a gold star on, even when it feels like wearing someone else's skin. Confidence isn't about nailing a borrowed script, it's about writing your own, messy and true. Aristotle called this telos, your purpose, the unique end you're built for, the reason your heart beats. When you live for someone else's goal, you're a ship with no rudder, drifting through a life that looks good but feels hollow. He said, happiness is the meaning and the purpose of life, the whole aim and end of human existence. Nicomachean Ethics, Book 1. Happiness and the confidence that comes with it flows from chasing your purpose, not a hand-me-down dream. I spent years caught in this snare. I had a solid gig, decent pay, nice apartment, the whole successful checklist ticked off. But every morning I'd wake up with this ache, this quiet void I couldn't name. I'd gone to school for business because my family said it was practical, stable job, safe life, the smart move. Meanwhile, I'd sneak off at night to scribble stories in notebooks, devour Aristotle, dream of teaching ideas that lit me up. One day, I found an old high school journal, pages of quotes, sketches, wild plans I'd buried to fit that smart mold. I'd been living my dad's dream, my uncle's dream, everyone's but mine. Quitting that job to start Aristo Soul was the scariest leap I've ever taken. Money dried up fast, the future was a blur, but it was the first time I felt alive, truly alive. Confidence didn't come from the safety net, it came from stepping onto my own path, from saying, this is me. Here's how you can claim yours. Ask the big questions, sit down this week, grab a pen and write. What would I do if no one else's opinion mattered? Don't rush it, let it simmer, let it show you what's been hiding. Take one step, pick something small that's yours alone, a hobby you've dropped, a goal you've shelved, and act on it. No excuses, no waiting. Say it out loud, tell someone, even just yourself in the mirror, this is what I want, this is who I am. Feel the weight lift when you do. Living someone else's life starves your soul, stopping that feeds it. Grows a confidence that's yours, unbreakable because it's built on truth. So there you have it. 6 things to stop doing to build unbreakable confidence. Seeking approval, comparing yourself, avoiding hard choices, dwelling on the past, overthinking and living someone else's life. Each one's a snag, a crack in that bridge we started with. And every time you let one go, you're laying a stronger plank toward the other side, towards strength, purpose, the real you. Aristotle didn't just spin theories, he handed us a map to flourish, to step into the best of who we're meant to be. Confidence isn't loud or flashy, it's quiet, deep, and yours to seize. Now it's your move. Pick one of these, maybe the one that stung a little, the one that made you nod or squirm, and start today. Stop waiting for the world to say go. Stop sizing yourself up against everyone else. Stop kicking that tough call down the road. You've got Aristotle's wisdom, some steps to try, and that fire inside that's been waiting for this moment. If you're ready to cross that bridge, I'm right here. Every video, every lesson, we're building this together. What's your next step? Drop it in the comments. I'd love to hear where you're taking this, what's lighting you up. If this hits you where you live, hit that like button, subscribe, ring the bell so you don't miss what's next. We've got more Aristotle coming to keep your soul blazing. Until then, stop doubting, start moving, and I'll see you on the other side of that bridge. Take care.